I found it odd that my grandpa, who was a real smart man, always worked construction and other seemingly low-paid jobs, even though he had his college diploma in business management. Well, one day, I was at his house when we were watching TV, when the local news had a story about some kids who gone missing, and how some other children were in the area were talking about a skinny tall man in a suit. My grandpa shook a moment, and I asked, "What's wrong?" He turned the TV off and asked me what I knew about his time in World War II. All my dad told me was that Grandpa was a paratrooper. My grandpa laughed and told me that is what he told my dad. In reality, he was an OSS field op. He said he was involved in many missions that remain secret to this day. Before I could ask what this had to do with missing children, he started to speak. Near the end of the war, Grandpa and a team of agents were sent on a mission in the Black Forest in Germany. They were disguised as civilians. Their mission was to meet up with a group who was going to give them some stolen Nazi plans. As they set up camp that night, they heard a noise. Hiding their weapons, they saw what looked to be a Nazi soldier walking towards them. At first they thought he was drunk, how he looked to be stumbling around until he got to their campfire, and they saw that his leg was broken. As they asked the soldier what happened, Grandpa said the soldier just mumbled something, then passed out. They figured that maybe there was a car wreck, or maybe he was attacked by someone, when the Nazi suddenly sat up screaming, "He's coming! He's coming!" My grandpa was shouting this in perfect German. I didn't know he could speak any other languages. Grandpa then said that a guy on his team, Jim, pulled out his Thompson and pointed it towards where the Nazi came from. The others grabbed their weapons when they saw him. A man in a black suit was walking towards them. Grandpa said he yelled at the man in German, French, any language he could think of to make this odd-looking man answer who he was. It got closer and closer till they saw its face. At that moment, I saw my grandpa's face become pale, eyes gone distant. He said there were no real features, just odd-looking orbs, and at first a little line for a mouth. It stood there looking at the men, then the Nazi on the ground. The Nazi was crying, mumbling to himself. One of the team yelled for the man to put his hands up. At that moment, the man shot up in the air. Grandpa said that when they saw the tentacles, Grandpa and his team opened fire on the thing. It seemed like the bullets weren't doing anything as the man used one of its tentacles to grab the Nazi. The Nazi screamed in terror as he was dragged through the air. Grandpa said he aimed his gun at the poor bugger, but something hit him as he fell to the ground. Grandpa said it seemed like time around him and the man just slowed down. He could see the bullets hit the man, but they seemed to be absorbed into him. The man just looked down at Grandpa. Then, in a flash, the man and the Nazi were gone. He said everything was so quiet. A little while after that, the people they were waiting for showed up, asking what happened. No one said anything. After the war, Grandpa got married and was going to work for this company in New York, but had a massive panic attack when he saw all the men in black business suits. After that moment, he worked any jobs that didn't involve wearing or being around strangers in business suits.